All right, ready to dive deep today. It's a big one. Proposition 33, California and rent control. It's a whole thing.
It really is. And you're definitely not alone in trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah, our listener sent a stack of articles on this, so clearly they've been doing some digging too.
It's always a hot topic, but it
Yeah,
seems like this Prop 33 is really stirring things up.
totally. So let's break it down. Yeah. For those of us who need a little refresher, what's the deal with this Costa-Hawkins thing? It's like the prequel we need to understand, right?
Exactly. Back in 1995, Costa-Hawkins became law, and it basically drew some lines in the sand about what cities could and couldn't do when it came to rent control.
Okay, so what kind of lines are we talking?
Big ones, like single-family homes, completely off limits. Anything built after 1995. Nope, no rent control there either. And landlords, they got to decide what to charge new tenants, no questions asked.
So inheriting grandma's beach bungalow from the 70s has different rules than renting a fancy new apartment downtown.
Exactly. And for cities, it's been tough. Imagine trying to solve this huge puzzle of affordable housing, but with like half the pieces missing. That's Costa-Hawkins for you.
Okay, so where does Prop 33 fit into all of this?
Well, imagine someone just dumped a whole other box of puzzle pieces on the table. That's Prop 33. It could change the whole game.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How so?
It would basically give a lot of power back to local governments. Cities could potentially say yes to rent control on everything, those single-family homes, brand new buildings, the whole shebang. They could even have a say in how much landlords charge new tenants right off the bat, something Costa-Hawkins doesn't touch.
Wow, that is a big shift. No wonder everyone's got an opinion about this.
You're telling me it's like pick a side, the lines are drawn.
So let's start with the folks waving the pro Prop 33 banners. Their argument seems pretty straightforward, right? The rent is too damn high. And honestly, who hasn't felt that way at some point?
Right. It's hard to argue with that sentiment when you're talking about like 30% of California renters shelling out more than half their income just to keep a roof over their heads.
That's insane.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it puts us way ahead of almost every other state when it comes to, the whole affordability crisis thing.
Right. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about real people struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, one article you shared really stuck with me. It said, "Where will I live?" is the question that haunts California's 17 million renters.
It's scary. Teachers, nurses, firefighters, they're getting priced out of the communities they serve. That impacts all of us.
It's true. And the folks who support Prop 33, they're putting a lot of faith in this idea of local control.
Yeah.
Right? Each city is different. They should be able to find solutions that work for their residents.
Makes sense. What works in San Francisco might not fly in Fresno, right? So give the power to the people, let them figure it out.
Exactly. They're saying one size fits all doesn't work for something as complex as housing in California.
Okay, so we've got people desperate for relief, a proposition that promises to shake things up. But there's always a but, isn't there? Not everyone's convinced this is the right way to go. It's true, there's always another side to this story. And from what we've gathered, the anti-Prop 33 folks aren't mincing words.
Not at all. Deeply flawed, make things worse.
Yeah.
They're definitely not holding back.
So what are their big concerns? Why are they so convinced this is going to backfire?
Well, a lot of it boils down to economics. They're worried about unintended consequences, like what happens if this actually discourages new construction.
That's the last thing we need, right? California is already starving for more housing.
Right. And their argument is if you're a developer and you know rent control could limit how much you can charge, especially on new buildings, why would you build here?
It's like, why take the risk when you could go to a state with fewer restrictions, right?
Exactly. And less construction means even higher prices down the line, which kind of defeats the purpose of helping renters, doesn't it?
It's a tough nut to crack, for sure. And speak of economics, you also mentioned something about Prop 33 potentially messing with property values. How would that even work?
Think of it like this. If you're a landlord and you know rent control could impact how much you can charge, your property instantly becomes less valuable. Why would you or anyone pay top dollar for an investment that might not give you the returns you'd expect?
So it's about more than just rent. It's about how these policies can affect the entire real estate market.
Precisely. And if property values tank, that creates a whole cascade of problems, from property taxes taking a hit to people struggling to get loans or sell their homes.
Wow, this is getting complicated. And hold on, didn't you say something about Prop 33 potentially affecting those existing tenant protections we talked about earlier? I don't quite get that part.
Yeah, that's a big one. Because Prop 33 would essentially wipe out Costa-Hawkins, Opponents argue it could accidentally sweep away some of the protections that renters already have.
Wait, so instead of adding more protections, it could actually get rid of some. That seems kind of backward.
It's not about intentionally removing them, but shifting who's in charge. Instead of statewide protections, it would be up to local governments to decide what those should look like.
So instead of one set of rules for all of California, each city could have their own thing going on.
Exactly. And that has both renters and landlords feeling uncertain. Some cities might make super tenant-friendly rules, while others go in a totally different direction.
And what would that do to affordability, where people choose to live the whole shebang? It's like every answer leads to more questions.
That's how it goes with these big, complex issues. There are no easy answers, no guarantees. But by talking about it, looking at all sides, hopefully we can at least make more informed decisions.
So we've got potential upsides, possible downsides, and a whole lot of what ifs. It's kind of like trying to predict the weather, right? We can look at the data, but who knows what will actually happen?
And that's why it's so important to have these conversations, right? To really dig into the details and try to understand what's at stake.
Right, because this isn't just about laws and policies, it's about people's lives. One thing that really hit home for me was there was this one article about the emotional toll this whole housing crisis takes on folks. The stress, the uncertainty, the fear of losing your home. It's heartbreaking.
It really is. And those are the costs you don't always see in the headlines, right? The impact on mental health, physical health, even kids' education.
Huh?
It all adds up.
It's about more than just having a roof over your head. It's about having that sense of stability, that foundation to build a life on.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that big question looming over all of this.
Yeah.
What is the best way forward? What's going to help create a California where everyone has a shot at a decent, affordable place to live?
Right. Because we can all agree doing nothing isn't an option. The status quo isn't working. But is Prop 33 the answer? I mean, is it going to magically fix everything, or will it cause even more problems down the line?
That's the million-dollar question. And unfortunately, there's no crystal ball that tells us for sure. Both sides make compelling points, and ultimately, it comes down to weighing those arguments and deciding where you stand.
And that's what's so great about a deep dive like this, right? We're not here to tell anyone what to think, but hopefully we've given you some things to consider, some new ways of looking at this whole issue.
Exactly. We need to keep the conversation going, right? Because the best solutions often come from communities coming together, listening to each other, and figuring things out collaboratively.
Love that. And hey, maybe we can even tap into some of that famous California innovation and find some creative solutions along the way.
Now you're talking. And remember, this isn't a one-and-done deal. Whether Prop 33 passes or not, we've got to keep pushing for policies that make housing more affordable and accessible for everyone.
Couldn't agree more. So, to our listener who sent in all that great research, thank you. We hope this deep dive has been helpful, even if it's just to spark some more questions. Keep asking those questions. Keep learning. And most importantly, keep engaging in this crucial conversation about the future of housing in California.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder all of this. Until next time, happy diving.